This was us about 1.5 years ago looking for land. We went to different places where we thought we could buy and in the end build a home. Unfortunately, I got tired along the way and let my husband continue with the journey. Today, my husband and I are in Malili buying the big steamed round poles for our simple house. Hi, my name is Sowino. If it's your first time to this channel, I do videos around cooking, farming, and homesteading in general. If this is the kind of content that interests you, kindly click the subscribe button for more videos. We picked 10 of the big round poles for support in the main corners of the house, then added about 6 of the other poles because we already have more on the site. These were to help us with the partitioning of the rooms. The transport guy really helped us with the loading, and off we went to the site. On arrival to the site, we found the people who we had called to work on the site already there. They offloaded the materials that we had bought and set them aside. We did the groundbreaking and they were ready to start. The offloading process took a while, but I didn't mind. It gave me a moment to really take in what we were working with. These steamed round poles are not only heavy, but also quite delicate at the ends. So the team had to be extra careful. We didn't want any cracking or splintering because each pole plays a big role in holding up the structure. This is the part of building that people don't always show. The physical work, the small decisions being made on the spot, and the rhythm that comes when everyone is working together. I kept thinking about how just a few months ago, this land was bare, and now here we are, offloading materials for our dream. We went for steam poles because they are durable, resistant to pests like termites. And to make matters worse, this area has a lot of termites. So we needed something that will survive and stay strong over time. Now, things are getting busy. Do you remember when we came with the architect to measure out the house? Well, those same measurements are being used now. The team is digging holes about 2.5 to 3 feet deep, which will help anchor the big poles firmly into the ground. It's so nice seeing the plan slowly coming to life, from drawings on paper to actual lines on the ground. This part is all about accuracy, because once these holes are done, there is no going back. After the digging, some of the men started preparing the materials we will need next. There are a lot of natural stones on this land, so instead of letting them go to waste, they picked and broke them into smaller pieces. These stones will later be used to fill in the spaces around the big poles once they are in the ground, just to help anchor them firmly. You'll see how that works a bit later in the video. We also have a river nearby where people harvest sand. So combining both the sand and the stones in the land makes the work a bit easier and more cost-effective. This piece was being cut to create a simple makeshift ladder you'll see being used later in the video. While we were in Malili, we picked up this black sheet that the Fundis told us they'll be wrapping around the poles. Now, I know it might look like a simple task, but wrapping each pole with care is crucial, especially when they are this large. Once wrapped, they use nails to secure the sheet tightly so it stays in place as they continue with the build. This black sheet actually serves a very important purpose. It's designed to protect these big round poles from termites. If you've ever heard of termites causing damage to structures, you'll know how critical this is. Did you know that termites can silently weaken even the strongest looking poles? Well, in this area, we have a real termite problem, so we had to be extra cautious. Now, here is the makeshift ladder I mentioned earlier, and not just any ladder. This one is designed to stand on 3 legs, forming a sort of pyramid shape. It doesn't need to lean on anything, and that makes it perfect for uneven ground like this. I've seen ladders like this before on construction sites, but I'd honestly never taken time to think about how they're made until today. Watching the guys build it from scratch was surprisingly fascinating. Just wooden poles, a few nails, and teamwork, and suddenly you have something sturdy enough to carry someone safely up and down. It might seem like such a small thing, but for me, it was one of those moments that sticks. You know those little things you see all the time, but then one day you get to see how it's actually made, and you're like, oh, that's how? I was so excited. And yes, I know it's just a ladder, but come on, it's the small things that make the whole process feel magical. Once the ladders were done, the team didn't waste any time. They got back to wrapping the remaining big poles. The black sheet we bought in Malili came in handy here. Each pole was wrapped carefully and then nailed to make sure the covering stays firm and snug. You will also notice how the team is very intentional with each pole, checking the fit, adjusting positions, and making sure everything is aligned before moving on. There is a nice rhythm to it, almost like everyone knows their role. It's one of those quiet, focused parts of the job, but still so full of purpose. Have you ever had that moment where something simple suddenly makes sense and it just sticks with you? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing those small wins and discoveries from others too. One of the coolest things I got to see on this day was how they used a hosepipe to get the levels right for the house. It might look simple, but the idea behind it is actually quite clever. They filled the hose with water, and then each person stood on the opposite ends, just like you're seeing here. When the water settles to the same level on both sides, it means the height is equal. No fancy equipment, just water, gravity, and teamwork. You may have seen this method before, or maybe even used it yourself. It's one of those older, reliable techniques that still works like a charm. Of course, there are more modern ways to do this, like using a string line, a spirit level, or even a laser level on bigger sites. But for us here, this hosepipe method was simple, accurate, and most importantly, it got the job done. I love seeing how different people solve the same problem in different ways depending on what's available. And honestly, this was a fun moment to witness. This part of the day was full of movement. You know those moments where so much is happening at once, but somehow it all flows. That's exactly what this felt like. One moment, they were cutting the poles they had just been measured. The next, someone was packing stones into a wheelbarrow. Then back again cutting, passing tools, mixing cement, loading sand, fetching water. It was like watching a dance where everyone knew their part without being told. Once they confirmed the right level on a pole, the next person will quickly step in to cut it precisely. No guesswork, just teamwork. You start to see the rhythm of the site, the way one task passes into the next like a relay race. And let's be honest, Construction sites are not quiet. There's shouting, instructions flying, wheelbarrows, hammers knocking, and someone always calling out for more water or a tool. But in all that noise, there's a kind of order, a flow. Everyone is moving, talking, lifting, deciding things on the spot. It's chaotic, yes, but also kind of beautiful. The mess, the noise, the small disagreements, the laughs in between, it's all part of the experience. How do your sites usually run? Are they loud and full of energy like this? Do you enjoy working with a team, or do you prefer smaller, quieter setups? For me, I'm learning to appreciate both, but there's something about the energy of people coming together, everyone focused on the same goal, that just hits different. If you've ever built something, even a small project, tell me in the comments, what part of it stayed with you the most? Was it the tools, the teamwork, or just seeing something come to life from the ground all the way up? The cement was finally ready. The guys had done such a good job mixing it. You could just tell they knew what they were doing. They started loading it into the wheelbarrow and ferrying it to where the poles had already been placed. Now, here is something new I learned that I honestly didn't know before. Before pouring the cement into the holes, they first poured in some water. I asked why, and apparently, it helps soften the dry soil at the bottom and prevents it from sucking all the moisture from the cement too quickly. That way, the cement sets better and stronger. Small detail, but it makes a big difference. Then, they will pour in the cement, heat it with a rod to remove air gaps and create space. Add in a few stones, more cement, heat it again, add more stones, and they will keep layering like that until it was filled up nicely and firm. They repeated the same process for every single pole, just a steady rhythm of mixing, pouring, compacting, and moving on. Once that batch of cement was done, they went right back to mix another one. Honestly, no time was wasted. Meanwhile, my husband and I were just helping and quietly watching all this happen. And I won't lie, we felt proud. We've come such a long way. From dreaming about it, looking for land, changing our minds, getting tired, and now here we are, actually seeing it happen right in front of us. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Please remember to like, leave a comment with your thoughts, share this video with your friends and family. Bye. We shall try again tomorrow.